This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great to have you joining me here in these online lessons. It's a Technique Tuesday, so this is a Technique Tidbit lesson. Now, right now, with these Technique Tidbit lessons, we've been working various scale patterns and interval skips within the scales to develop dexterity in our hands, control between our right and left hands, coordination in that way. In this lesson, we're going to look at interval skips of a seventh, and we're going to practice it within a major scale. We've been doing all of these within the most common 2-octave major scale form that we tend to play on the guitar, though they could be done with any of the major scale forms. And I've had Theory Thursday, fretboard theory lessons that come out on Thursdays that walk you through how to play those. And of course, there's many modes, lots of different scales, and these same types of things can be done with those to work the hands and sort of get inside of those scales and help you learn those scales better. But I have a review of that major scale up here on the board in case you need it. So I'm going to be playing in B flat. It's right in the middle of the fretboard. Of course, it's good to practice these in lower positions and higher positions, as our fingers have to be tighter and wider depending on where we are along the fretboard. But I'm just going to put that root, which has the square around it there, at the 6th fret of the 6th string. So I'm just playing that 2-octave major scale that has that extra 2 on top and the extra 7 on bottom. So that's what I'm going to be using as we work on this together. If you need to learn how to review that, it's up there on the board to help you out. So interval skips of a seventh. Within the scales, depending on the modes and so on, we tend to have major sevenths and minor sevenths, and that's pretty prevalent here inside of the major scale. We have a couple places with major sevenths, and then we have lots of minor sevenths as we skip from one note to the next. So I'm going to walk us through how to do this. These wider intervals are really great at working the control between our right and left hands, so these are great things to do. Now we can do these interval skips in both ascending and descending fashion. I'm going to walk us through the ascending ones first. So if we put our middle finger there on the B flat, so the 6th fret of the 6th string, that's the root, and then I'm going to skip up to the major 7th. So I'm going to skip up to step 7, and then I'm going to come back to step 2 and go up to the higher root. Then I go from step 3 up to step 2, 4 up to step 3, 5 is going to go up to step 4, and then 6 up to that 5. We're going to have 7 up to that 6, and then I've got my root octave that's going to go up to 7, and then I've got the 2 up to that higher root octave, and then I've got 3 up to the 2. Then we come back down, still ascending, so 2 up to that root, and then I've got my root up to the 7, 7 up to 6, and then 6 up to 5. 5 up to 4, and then 4 up to 3, 3 up to 2, 2 up to the root, and then that root up to the 7th, and then the 7 up to the 6th, and then I'm back to my root. So in finding these, you might just memorize where you are. You're seeing how we're just moving up that scale and then skipping up a 7th from there, but we're also moving in the higher fashion. And with 7ths, we're actually going up to the one just lower than it. So from the root, or 8, we go up to 7, and then from 2, the one below it's the root, and so it can help to sort of subtract that in your mind. I'm just going to play through it now without talking. You could play through it right with me if you'd like to. So we go ready and to that root. So just as easy as that. Great at working coordination between that right and left hand. Couple things. It's important to do these as slow as you need to play them accurately. We do a lot more good for ourselves playing something accurately at an extremely slow tempo than we do just sort of kind of getting it at a faster tempo. And then we can gradually increase the tempo as we are comfortable at playing where those notes are and playing it accurately. The other thing is sometimes we got to roll, and this is practicing with rolling our fingers over multiple strings. And I've explained this in previous lessons with these interval skips and also with just the stepwise motion collections of notes, like the last one we did 7 together. So sometimes when I'm going, I'm going to use the same finger because I'm going to be in the same fret on multiple strings. And when I do that, like when I cut that 7 up to that 6, I just roll my finger. And when I'm coming in the opposite fashion, if I just played it, I roll down. So that's something that can be really helpful as we're playing rather than trying to pick our fingers up. Though it's good to practice picking our fingers up because sometimes as we're playing, we do have to have our fingers picked up. But usually when we're playing, we are going to roll our fingers more often. It's more efficient. So those were the ascending ones. Let's look at descending. So with the descending, then I would start up on that major 7th, come down to my root. And then I would do my octave of the root and come down to step 2. 3 down, or step 2 down to 3. 3 down to 4. 4 down to 5. 5 down to 6. 6 down to 7. 7 down to the root, then that root down to the 2, and then the 2 to the 3. Then I come back down, root to the 2, 7 to the root, 6 to the 7, 5 to 6, then I'm going to have the 4 down to the 5, I got the 3 down to the 4, I've got that 2 down to the 3, I've got the root down to the 2, 7 down to the root, I've got the 6 to the 7, and then I come back with that 7 to the root. So you can think the opposite way. You're going to be going down to the one that's just higher than it. So if I start on 7, I'm going to be thinking 8 or root is next. If I'm on the root, I'm going to be going down to the 2 because the 2 is just above it. So that can be a way to think through it if you need that kind of help. So I'm going to play through this one without talking. So we go ready and... Just like that. So that wraps us up in this lesson. On the next Technique Tuesday, we're going to work in groups of 8, which is really great in the stepwise motion. That actually takes us through just playing one mode at a time in a given form, which is kind of a cool thing. And then we'll be working in those octave skips as well as we progress on these Technique Tidbit lessons on these Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we have Theory Thursdays right now. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we got the jazz course airing. And on Saturdays, we're working on improvisation in the pop, rock, and blues style. Those are the new lessons that are coming out each week. Of course, there's hundreds and hundreds, actually getting closer and closer to 1,000 lessons on the channel. So lots of great things to help you. Hope you're having fun. Keep at it, take care, and we'll see you again. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at KristenBromley.com. Take care.